Welcome to Civic's Vanguard. Ever wondered why gas prices keep climbing? You're about to find out. In this video, we break down the real reasons behind rising fuel costs. You've probably noticed that gas prices seem to keep climbing, right? In fact, as of 2024, the average price of gas in the US has hit around $3.60 per gallon, up from $2.40 just a couple of years ago. But why? It all starts with the price of crude oil, which makes up about 60% of the cost. OPEC's decisions on oil production, natural disasters that mess up supply chains, and even seasonal spikes all play a role. A big reason for high gas prices is global supply and demand. When demand is high and supply is tight, prices go up. Take 2021, for example. Global oil demand surged as countries recovered from the pandemic, but production couldn't keep up. This led to a price hike, pushing prices over $4 per gallon in many parts of the US. Meanwhile, if OPEC decides to cut production, like they did in 2020, one of the biggest factors affecting gas prices is crude oil prices. About 60% of what you pay at the pump is determined by the price of crude oil. For example, when crude oil prices were around $60 per barrel in 2020, gas was pretty affordable. But by 2022, prices jumped to over $100 a barrel due to supply issues and global events. This causes a direct increase in gas prices, as refineries need to pay more for the oil they process. OPEC plays a huge role in shaping gas prices worldwide. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries controls about 40% of the world's oil production. When OPEC decides to cut or increase production, it has a direct impact on global oil prices. For instance, in 2020, OPEC reduced oil output to cope with the economic downturn caused by the pandemic, which led to lower supply and higher prices in the following years. Geopolitical tensions are another major factor driving gas prices up. When there's instability in oil-rich regions like the Middle East, it can cause supply fears, which push prices higher. For example, conflicts in places like Libya or tensions between the US and Iran can lead to uncertainty about oil availability. In 2019, tensions in the Strait of Hormuz caused a spike in oil prices because a significant portion of the world's oil passes through there. Refining costs also play a big part in gas prices. After crude oil is extracted, it needs to be refined into usable gasoline, and that process isn't cheap. In the US, about 10% of the cost at the pump is tied to refining. For example, if a refinery is damaged by a natural disaster or if the industry faces any sort of disruption, refining costs can spike. This was especially true after Hurricane Katrina in 2005, when refinery shutdowns led to significant price increases. Transportation costs are another hidden factor in gas prices. After gasoline is refined, it has to be transported to gas stations, which adds extra costs. Whether it's by truck, pipeline, or ship, transporting gas involves significant expenses. In the US, pipelines play a huge role, but issues like maintenance, delays, or disruptions, like the Colonial Pipeline hack in 2021, can cause price hikes. These disruptions create shortages at local stations. Taxes and regulations also have a big influence on gas prices. In many countries, a significant portion of what you pay at the pump goes toward taxes. For example, in the US, federal and state taxes can add up to 50 cents or more per gallon, depending on where you live. In some European countries, taxes can make up more than 60% of the price you pay for gas. Plus, environmental regulations that require cleaner fuels can raise costs for oil companies. The strength of the dollar also plays a big role in gas prices. Since oil is traded globally in US dollars, when the dollar weakens, oil becomes more expensive for countries that use other currencies. For example, in 2021, when the dollar lost some of its value, oil prices shot up because it cost more to buy oil in other currencies. This means that even if the supply and demand for oil stays the same, the strength of the dollar can still make gas more expensive for everyone. Natural disasters can cause major disruptions in the gas supply chain, leading to higher prices. Hurricanes, floods, or earthquakes that hit key oil-producing or refining areas can shut down production and damage infrastructure. For example, Hurricane Katrina in 2005 knocked out 25% of the U.S. oil refining capacity, causing a sharp spike in gas prices across the country. Even today, when a big storm approaches the Gulf Coast, consumer behavior also has an impact on gas prices. When people travel more, especially during holidays or summer months, demand for gasoline spikes. For instance, in the US, gas prices tend to increase during the summer driving season as millions of Americans hit the road. Similarly, in places with high tourism, like Europe, gas prices often rise during peak tourist seasons. Fuel alternatives are starting to shape the gas market, but they can also influence gas prices. As electric vehicles, EVs, and renewable energy options become more popular, they reduce the demand for gasoline over time. This sounds like good news for the environment, but in the short term, it can actually push gas prices higher. Why? Because when fewer people are buying gas, oil companies might cut back on production. Seasonal changes play a surprising role in gas prices, too. Typically, gas prices rise during the summer months and around holidays, like Memorial Day and Labor Day in the US. This happens because more people are traveling, and refineries switch to a different fuel blend to meet environmental regulations. The summer blend of gasoline is more expensive to produce, and that gets passed on to consumers. Environmental policies can also drive up gas prices. Many governments around the world are pushing for cleaner energy and stricter environmental regulations. For example, in the US, the push for lower carbon emissions has led to the development of cleaner but more expensive fuel types. Refiners must spend more to meet these standards, and that cost is passed down to consumers. Similarly, many countries impose carbon taxes on oil companies. Oil company profits are another factor that can affect gas prices. While it might sound surprising, large oil companies do play a part in driving prices up. When the price of crude oil rises, these companies often see huge profit margins. In fact, in 2021, the world's top oil companies posted record profits, which sometimes leads to accusations of price gouging. Though competition can help keep prices in check. Currency fluctuations play a significant role in gas prices worldwide. Since oil is priced in US dollars, any change in the value of the dollar impacts oil prices. For example, if the dollar weakens compared to other currencies, oil becomes more expensive for countries that use those currencies. This can lead to higher gas prices in places like Europe or Asia, even if oil prices themselves haven't changed much. The role of speculators in the oil market also affects gas prices. Oil futures are often bought and sold by traders looking to profit from price fluctuations. When speculators believe that oil prices will rise in the future, they buy large amounts of oil contracts, which can drive up prices even if there's no immediate change in supply or demand. In 2008, speculators played a part in causing oil prices to hit record highs. Oil production methods are another factor influencing gas prices. Traditional drilling and extraction methods are becoming more expensive, so oil companies are increasingly turning to more complex techniques like fracking and deep water drilling. These methods come with higher costs, which are passed down to consumers at the pump. Supply chain disruptions can cause gas prices to spike unexpectedly. Gasoline is part of a long supply chain that includes extraction, transportation, refining, and distribution. If any of these stages face delays due to strikes, accidents, or even global events like the COVID-19 pandemic, gas prices can increase. For example, during the 2021 Colonial Pipeline hack, fuel distribution was halted for several days, leading to panic buying and a significant price jump. Global economic growth also affects gas prices. When the global economy is doing well, industrial production and transportation needs rise, which leads to higher demand for oil and gas. For example, in 2021, as economies recovered from the pandemic, global oil demand surged, pushing prices up. On the flip side, when economies slow down, oil prices tend to drop. So, why are gas prices so high? It's not just one thing, it's a mix of global oil politics, economic trends, environmental policies, refining costs, and even speculation on the oil market.